Alright, this is just a quick rundown on how I do my prep work for LS swaps. So usually they purchase motor gets delivered. After motor is delivered, I'll set it up as you see it now. So this one just happens to be a red and blue ECU 411 2002 that was converted. I usually just use everything as they are for the trucks, unless customer wants a custom OS, then I'll switch the OS over to a 411 3-bar map. So this is the easy setup. It's just a stand, plywood on the front, or 2x6 on a 2x4, just to shim up the front side because each pan's different. Motor mounts are different on the motors that get ran on it. A couple different stands, but this is just the one that I usually use to test LS's on. Alright, so that's bracket from my company in Kansas City. Big company. You saw it with a Type 2 pump also set up, but it bolts right on. You can use the spacers to run it with the truck. Kind of hard to see, but you can use the spacers to run it with the truck. Or take the spacers off and run it with the Camaro setup, but it doesn't go to the short belt alignment. This is just a Junkyard air filter I found, K&N. Factory water tank out of the SUV or truck, and it's still all stock hoses, just bypassed. It's also a stock lower hose on the stand. You can see it comes around. The upper hose, I don't remember what it was, but it works really well. There might be a part number there. I don't know what company this is. Made in Mexico though, but there's a curved radiator hose. That's what I use for my top part of my stand. This is a non-turbo DSM radiator that I got just by coincidence from a customer because they ordered the wrong one. I mean, that was probably 6 years ago, or if not more. I use EFI Live, the V2. Start off with a fresh log. Let's see if I can cover the flash up. There we go. Cover the flash up. A little bit of red. Huh, that's weird. But there's the screen I use, or that's just the stock one. But you can use the bank trim to find vacuum leaks and stuff, say like injector O-rings, intake gasket, you know. That's just, I think, knowledge that a mechanic should know. Then the knock sensor, of course we all know what knock is. Any kind of alteration and variation, harmonic balancing will cause that to go off. Bad injector O-ring exactly will cause that cylinder to suck air pass and cause the injector spray pattern to be turbulent because of the vacuum leak on the back side of it. Yeah, all kinds of different stuff. But usually I set them up like this. Start them. Got an oil pressure gauge there. Got a fuel pressure gauge there. Looks like my check ball is leaking just a little bit. That's how you can find a leaky injector. Is, charge your fuel pump. It's a Bosch fuel pump. I don't remember what I got that off of. It was a really long time ago also. Fuel tank, plumbing, fuel lines, etc. So yeah. Got those gauges set up there, pretty simple. Drive-by cable. This is a 6-liter out of a Denali. Usually, bring out this too. The plugs for the bolts won't usually be there if it's a Denali or something that was drive-by-wire. I mean, yeah, drive-by-wire, not cable. I just put the cable throttle body on this to start it with the harness that I already had prepped and ready so I could verify the engine was good, because warranty runs out pretty quick on them. Never wash these and just park them, because yeah, they'll rust out. Customers buy nice looking motors off of Craigslist all the time. Not all the time, but it is frequent. And they weren't fired after they were washed to presentate, and they park them for months, and you end up with a rusted out block in the cylinder walls and the rockers, different things like that. I marked this intake because, like I said, easy way to find a vacuum leak is look at the scan tool and log it and find it, and just go around the edges while it's running with a bottle of spray. I like just water is fine. So spray it with water, find the vacuum leak, and you can get rid of the random knock code or hesitation idle, or heavy trim on either or bank. So when I fire it up, also I use what is it called, infrared thermal thermometer. I use that to check each individual cylinder as it heats up to make sure they're heating up evenly. Like I said, the fuel pressure should stay where it sits when the motor's just sitting. Shouldn't bleed down too fast either. If it's bleeding down, it's because the one-way check ball in your fuel pump is bad, or you can have a leaking injector. Easy way to check for leaky injectors: charge system, leave safety clips on the fuel rail, pull the fuel rail up and off when you're replacing the O-rings, and charge it. Don't crank on it, but charge it with fuel, and you'll be able to see them leak if they've got a leaky fuel injector. That's the easiest way. Yeah. So I go from junkyard or wherever the motor comes from, salvage yard, and down here, if it's been parked for a really long time, that plug right here is the oil plug. I'll pull that. Pulled spark plugs. Use a charging vessel. Just made up charging vessel with the plug on it tapped. A couple valves, gauge, Schrader valve, I do believe is what that's called. Drill a hole, put a Schrader valve in so you can charge the canister. I usually put about 2 cups or 2/3 volume in the canister when I fill it. Hook it up, spark plugs out of it, hand rotate with plugs out until you see oil pressure at that side. Or if you want to verify even further, say if it's a crate engine or something like that, you do it with the valve covers off until you see oil out of every push rod. So usually it'll take about 3 quarts of oil, sometimes less, just depends. They get oil to everything. So I'm going to just start it for a second, being my garage is shut. I already heat cycled it again. Found the vacuum leak. So usually just take battery power, ignition, and starting signal. I know there's more wires there, but they're for different things. I'm not going to explain everything right now. I'm going to set the phone down so I can hook up ignition and fire it real quick. Show you. That's the fuel pump turning on and priming as it's supposed to. So then you can look at the gauge and check leak down pressure. This one's not too bad at all. I think it's just the ball valve in the pump. So then from there, you should have a steady fuel pressure, and you can just crank on it. Fire right up. Connect DFI Live. The ECU I'm using. Logging some data. Right now we can see we're logging some the data. It says it's got a slight knock, and it's definitely adding fuel or subtracting fuel. It's not bleeding my eyes. So let me just take the infrared. We can check everything just like that as it heats up. Check it like that as it heats up. Now I'll take the water. I gotta go grab the water real quick. So then you can just go around the edges. I don't know if you can hear this very well, but go around the edges and check, you know, the water leak. You'll hear it. Oh, there we go. Yep, there's a bad injector O-ring. We'll go around and check all of them. I think there's another one up the front up there. Yeah, so I just test it like that. Check voltage. Make sure the alternator that the customer got with the setup is charging the battery. That's easy to do. Turn on the voltmeter. Check it. And we got oil pressure. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit lower because I run 520 in them with some Marvel when I first start them up, just to clean up the lifters a little bit, because you know we know they're prone to that. Make sure fuel pressure is good. You know, you can find the vacuum leak usually on these. There's a little crack, and that'll mess with your vacuum on your intake reference. So I'll disconnect that vacuum line real quick. You can see the fuel pressure go up. So that's that. There we go. Plug back in. And that's how I start it. So like I said, that knock that I'm seeing right there, the fuel trim that's well overboard, is from that injector O-ring leak. So that's that. That's how I can data log that. And just unconnect the ignition. That's difficult to do one-handed. There we go. Disconnect ignition, power source. Then yeah, so that's how I start them up.